Yo my people, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all good, hope you're all well, and I know you've been waiting for a welcome to Arsenal Victor Gyokeres video. I hadn't recorded it beforehand because I wanted to see the welcome vid, I wanted to see the quotes, I wanted to see the interview, and I just haven't had time to get a welcome done. Listen, to be honest with you, you already know what I feel about the signing. That's my guy, that's the one I wanted all the way from January, to be honest with you. It should have been last summer, but let me not start this video by moaning, because at this moment in time, regarding Victor Gyokeres, there's nothing to moan about. Signed, sealed, delivered, the welcome's out, all of the questions and answers are out. He loves talking about goals. Every answer seemed to mention goals in some way, shape or form. And he obviously came out on the pitch tonight in Singapore against Newcastle. Missed that because I was slightly late to the game, but I don't need to see that. I just need to see him next week against Tottenham, bang a couple goals, and more importantly, game week 1 against United, bang a couple goals or more. But yeah, Victor Gyokeres is an Arsenal player, and listen, there isn't much to take from the Q&A that comes with a welcome on the Arsenal website and so on. Like I said, he just mentions goals and how happy he is to be here. And I think we already knew how happy he would be when the deal was finally agreed, considering how hard he's pushed for it, considering all the obstacles that he's had to get past, get through along the way. And whether that's Man United, whether that's Saudi Arabia, whether that's Sporting Lisbon, whether that's his ex-partner. You know, he's had to battle a few different entities to wear this Arsenal shirt. And he's taken the number 14. And listen, number 14 carries a lot of weight. We all know why, we should know why. Not many players have justified it since Thierry left this club. Oba probably being the only one. But listen, it's not about being the next Henry, it's about being Gyökeres and scoring those 20 goals a season that will put your name in the lights, will put your name in Arsenal folklore. Because if you bang 20 goals consistently for Arsenal at this moment in time, you know, it should go a long way in helping us finally get over the line and win a major, you know, win a major. Whether that's this season or not, whether we do enough in this transfer window or not, that's, you know, all going to come out in the next few days, weeks, and just over a month of the transfer window left, so we will find out. But yeah, Victor Gyokeres is an Arsenal player, and if you want to know my feelings on him, watch my last couple of videos on him, people. You already know, especially the one with the smile. Yeah, a lot of you say I don't smile, but yeah. The Gyökeres signing has made me smile. And you know what's made me smile a bit more? How swift the news and rumours have seemed to pick up since Gyökeres was announced. I mean, within minutes, less than an hour, we're hearing about Eberechi Eze and how Arsenal are still interested. I've got a couple tweets here. Usually I start with Fabrizio or Ornstein. Tonight, I'm going to start with Hand of Arsenal, who's changed his name. Not his handle, just the name, to Hand of Berta. Whether that's short-term, long-term, or just a little play for the next 24 hours, we will find out. But Hand of Arsenal, who's proved quite reliable over the last few weeks, and this transfer window in particular, especially with Victor Gyokeres, all the way from when we was supposedly and ahhing about Sesko. But Hand of Arsenal, bigging him up, he says, my understanding is that there has been informal dialogue between Arsenal and Crystal Palace for the transfer of Eze very, very recently. The player is clear. Arsenal is my dream choice. His camp feel optimistic as things stand. Some sources have suggested the release clause is technical and requires it to be paid in a set time frame, bracket 2 years. But these things are so confidential that one can't be entirely sure. Fair enough, fair enough. I get it, you know, nothing's set in stone, especially with Arsenal Football Club when we're linked to players in transfer windows. But Fabrizio, who tweeted slightly beforehand of Arsenal, straight after the Gyökeres news, said Arsenal remain in contact with Eze's camp since June, as player is keen on the move. No club-to-club talks yet, with Palace as Arsenal work on outgoings as priority now, with Reece Nelson to Fulham expected to be the next move. Now, I get it, it was always going to move on to outgoing sooner or later, but listen, I've just come back from the game, the Newcastle game, 3-2 win, and seeing Calafiori come off injured, it just raised some questions for me. Does this affect how we move in the transfer window in terms of outgoings now, considering I was hearing Kivior's name potentially out there? Not happy about that. I'd be keeping Kivior, similar to Trossard. I think they're both great squad players. They both stepped in and stepped up when need be over the last couple of years, and those are the type of players you need in a squad. I'm looking at Zinchenko. He was due to leave this summer. Now with this Calafiori knock, I'm going to call it a knock because we don't quite know what it is yet, the extent of it, but it is worrying considering his first year in England, his first year in the Premier League at Arsenal Football Club. It's been very stop-start, to say the least. Very stop-start, and we've got another stop here. He had to come off injured. Like I said, there's not much more news on it, and I wish him the best, and I hope he recovers soon, because we need a fully fit squad going into next season. And to be honest with you, I am impressed by Calafiori at centre-back primarily. I think he bursts forward well. I think he carries the ball well. And if last season we saw he's a threat in the opposition box too. And I don't mean with his head, a couple of neat finishes across the season. So yeah, hopefully that's good news on that front. But if outgoings are the priority now, Fabrizio mentions Reiss Nelson. I don't know how much we can get for him. I think Ornstein also tweeted about Nelson, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that one in front of me. Someone else did. And they mentioned loan with an option, loan with an obligation, a permanent transfer, all on the cards, which kind of tells me that whoever tweeted that doesn't really know what's going on, because he pretty much used all the options available there. But yeah, Reiss Nelson, due a move. It just hasn't worked out at Arsenal. I liked him. I like him even the other day, coming on against AC Milan. He was a threat. And I mentioned somewhere that, in terms of ball carriers at Arsenal Football Club, he is one of the better ones. It's just that the way we've been playing over the last 18 to 24 months doesn't really suit a ball carrier. Maybe that's going to change. With Madueke coming in, Zubimendi and Gyökeres, in my opinion, it looks like we're going to be a bit smoother, a bit quicker in the transition. And if that's the case, then Nelson becomes a better player. But at the same time, I think it is time. It is time for Reiss to find a new home, and whether that's Fulham or not, where he seems to be happy with in terms of choice and preference, then so be it. I wish him the best of luck, and it's unfortunate that it hasn't worked out. And other than that, Zinchenko, and I'm struggling to really see other players that we can get good value for this summer. I know Lokonga's still here, I know Vieira's still here, but I go back to good value. And considering Lokonga's last couple loan spells haven't exactly perked up the ears of the clubs he's been at enough to put in a proper bid and get him in, yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. And Vieira, I mean, there's a player in there. I think there's a player in there not suited to the Premier League, so I'm surprised that there hasn't been some option since. His Porto loan was quite up and down, but we'll see how that one goes. I think we're struggling to find outgoings with real value there. And really and truly, I feel like Arsenal Football Club, when you look at the PSR reports that have come out since January, when you look at the wage bill from last season in comparison to other clubs we're competing with, we have some room to manoeuvre. We have some room to manoeuvre, and I think even with the business we've done so far in terms of terminating Tomiyasu's contract, Mosquera coming in, Mosquera's definitely on less wages than Tomiyasu, who was on 100k, I believe. Kepa coming in, I think he's on more wages than Neto, that's for sure, considering Neto was only a loan and Kepa is coming from Chelsea, having been the most expensive, or currently still is the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. Maybe the wages increased there. Zubimendi and Norgard, I think all in, we've probably like for like the wages in centre midfield. Madueke, we still don't know exactly how much he's on, but a lot of people are predicting between the 50 to 80k a week mark. I think we're still in a good position wage bill wise, so I'm not too happy about hearing that the priority is outgoing before Eze, because in my opinion Eze should be coming in regardless of outgoings, and then the priority being outgoings to get in a Rodrigo or even a Leao, someone to shake up that left hand side. Someone to really shake up that left-hand side. Whether Arsenal do it or not, I'm not too sure. Does it tie in with what Liverpool are potentially about to do, considering they've just agreed a deal with Bayern Munich for Luis Diaz, £65 million all in, 75 million euros all in. They're getting the ball rolling in terms of knocking down a few dominoes to lead to a potential Isak bid. I say potential, I mean the bid is going to come. Sooner or later it's going to come. What Newcastle do with that bid and how that bid unfolds, we'll find out. And yes, it'll have a knock-on effect on us, I believe, considering they are the champions. They are the ones we need to chase currently. Can't forget about City though. It looks like that deal for Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich, softens their net spend a bit this summer, that's for sure. And when you consider, I've just gone through a few players of little value at Arsenal Football Club. You look at Liverpool and the way they sell Kwanzaa. How much did he go for? 35 M's? Off the top of my head, people, Liverpool fans don't get offended. I don't know exactly how much it was, but it was more than I think you expected, I expected, and more than it probably should be. But Liverpool do this. They sell well, and that allows them to spend well, especially this summer. Harvey Elliott seems like he might be up for grabs, and you're hearing the prices around him. That's good money to Liverpool as well, especially if they want to make a further couple moves, which could be in the pipeline. You know, we're all focused on Isak, but that left-hand side a few weeks ago, Rodrigo was heavily linked too. So I'm sure Liverpool are still very much in the market, not just for Isak, but other areas on the pitch. And I'm sure City as well. I've heard rumours of Livramento potentially going over there, but I wouldn't be surprised if City also getting a couple more players. So at this moment in time, I'm looking at the reports of Eze, and I'm happy about that. I think Eze's quality, I think homegrown talent, Haaland talent. You know, his dream, apparently, according to Hand of Arsenal, and to be honest, you know, that's not too far-fetched considering how it ended with Arsenal for him so young. I think he was 13 or 14 years old, and there was a documentary or a few clips a few years ago, maybe less than a few years ago, where he mentioned how difficult it was to come over the fact he was not going to make it at Arsenal, and potentially, you know, not going to make it at all. How beautiful would it be if, you know, 10 years, 13 years on, whatever it is, a complete 360, he returns back to the club and helps lead us to something special. Eze's quality, whether central or on the left-hand side, my preference central. You know, he brings something to the squad, he brings something that we lack, and that's a bit of off-the-cuffness, I'm going to call it. I know there's a better word for it, people. You can let me know in the comment section below. Whilst you do that, you can hit the like button too, but I'm going to call it off-the-cuffness because he can shimmy one way, he can shimmy the other way, he can finish well, he's a threat inside the box, he's a threat outside the box, and at set pieces too, which is something that we've lacked. I know Declan Rice banged in a couple against Real Madrid, but in general over the years we've struggled to find a real set piece taker. We've got a striker and who bangs penalties now. By the way, we've missed a few big penalties over the last couple of years too. So it's good to have a striker that bangs his penalties in now, and it'd be good to get an attacking midfielder that's comfortable taking free kicks just outside the box. So let's go in for Eze. Let's not tie it all into outgoings, because I feel like the outgoings need to be tied into the final, the cherry on the top signing. And that is a Rodrigo, that is a Leao. I'm mentioning Leao now because every time I mention Rodrigo, people say, have you been linked to him? Who's the source? No, we haven't really been linked strongly to Rodrigo. It's more a dream than anything. Like Kvaratskhelia was a dream that didn't, you know, materialize to reality. I'm hoping Rodrigo does. And if not, I think Leao is still a intriguing, interesting option that profile-wise we lack in the squad, especially on that left-hand side. And when you look at the two games so far over here in Singapore, I think the left-hand side is a bit of the same old. There's a bit of, you know, what we've been used to over the last 18 months or so, and it's just not been good enough. So lovely news to be linked with Eze straight after the Gyökeres stuff. I was really, you know, believing that after Gyökeres we would lay low, go quiet, and, you know, rumours to Eze, links to Rodrigo, you know, it goes into thin air, and we pull maybe one more out after the season starts. But it looks like, you know, the ball is rolling, not just for us, Liverpool too. Chelsea have also, you know, closed in on Xavi Simons and Jorel Hato. Apparently that's their next two signings, and like I just mentioned with City, Livramento. So, you know, the teams that finished in the top four last season are all moving. They're all spending big, with high hopes of winning that Premier League title, the bread and butter. Everything else comes after it. I know Champions League, massive, more eyes on it, I get that, but the Premier League is the bread and butter, and to be honest with you, it's the one I really want. As much as we ain't had the Champions League ever, the Premier League, it's been so long. I miss that feeling. I don't know the Champions League feeling yet. Hopefully one day I do, but the Premier League feeling, I need that back, and it'll be beautiful if we can do enough in this window for me to believe, like I did not so long ago. People call me negative, but not so long ago, there's a clip of me on DR Sports with the FCM boys, Cams, Fuad and Mays. I was talking hella smack, as the Americans might say, talking about domination and winning the Premier League title at the end of the season just gone. And obviously on the big six, you already know what it is. I said in 18 months we're winning a major, chest fully out, and yeah, fully deflated at the same time at the end of this season. But the ball has been rolling for all the clubs, like I said, and it's coming to crunch time now. Pre-season, we're halfway through over here, gonna go Hong Kong tomorrow and then North London derby, but the season's not too far away, people. Just ahead, just round the corner. A few more friendlies left. I don't think Tottenham will be a friendly, but a few more friendlies left. Couple more after the Tottenham game, Villarreal and Bilbao. We'll see how those ones go, but game week 1, we need to be ready. Man United away from home, we need to be ready, because it doesn't get any easier after United away from home. In fact, it gets quite a bit more difficult if we take the United from last season into account and assume that we see something along those lines. So, yeah, I think I've covered everything there, people, in terms of what I need to cover. Gyökeres is a gunner. Eze next, please. And outgoings are the priority as expected. Well done to Berta, by the way. Got the deal done. Good business, as everyone likes to say. But the same people that say good business ask me if I'm an accountant. So funny that. Are you the COO? I'm not too sure. But it is good business considering the amount of goals he scored and the impact that he hopefully has. Seems confident, talks of revenge, prime age, scores goals. We need goals. So hopefully he comes in and we get goals, people. Yeah, if I've missed anything, let me know in the comment section. I'll cover it in the next video, but make sure you have hit that like button, people. Make sure you are subscribed. Love for the love. Listen, since I've been taking this channel consistently for the past year or so, I never imagined that I'd finally hit 100k, and I'm nearly on 129. I never imagined that I'd be getting 100k vids consistently. It's crazy to me, you know. I'm not no tactical genius. I'm just an Arsenal supporter, an Arsenal fan, whatever word you want to use. And I'm just passionate, you know. Sometimes I get it wrong, sometimes I get it right. With the owners, I've never been wrong. That's one thing for sure. But yeah, we'll be back, people, when I'm back. Probably next time in Hong Kong. Need to get our OGs in as well with Curtis. Might as well make that an in-person one, something a bit different. Maybe a glimpse into the future. But yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. Love for the love. And see you soon, people. Peace.